Hello, fellow YouTubers. This is DVD Collector 1986 here with a new video. But I did get in one movie, and the movie that I watched was Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This is an interesting movie. It's one of those films you'll either like it or you won't. It's a very polarizing film. The people that disliked the movie, I believe the reason they didn't like it, and there's a lot of people who don't like it, they didn't like it because of the change in tone. When you watch the first one, which I love the first one, um, it's very almost documentary feeling, uh, very raw, very visceral. If you go watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, at the end of it, you're thinking, "Wow, I really just watched like a bloodbath." But if you really actually go back and really pay attention to the film, you'll notice hardly any blood in the movie at all. What I think Texas Chainsaw, the first one, got right, like the first Halloween got right, was theater of the mind. It's not what you see that scares you, it's what you don't see. Because the visuals and the things that you could come up with in your own mind are far more brutal, far more visceral, far more terrifying than anything they could put up on. Fast forward about 12 years, and you get Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. In truth, Tobe Hooper, God rest his soul, if you watch, there's a documentary called Texas Chainsaw Massacre, A Family Portrait Revisited. It's a documentary all about how they made the first two films. And Tobe Hooper says in that documentary that, in truth, as weird as this might sound, the second Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie is actually the kind of movie that he wanted to make with the first one. But he wasn't really able to do that because of budget. And I mean, it was a very low budget movie. If you go into the second movie with the right mindset, if you go in knowing it's not going to be the same tone as the first one, you'll enjoy it more, and I think you'll have fun with it. Some people, they hate comedy in their horror films. I'm kind of in the middle of the road with that. One horror movie that I can watch it, I can actually get through it, but I'm not a fan of it, is Dawn of the Dead. But I can't take any part of that movie seriously at all. Now, if you watch the Dawn of the Dead remake from 2004, you cannot tell me that you do not enjoy the remake more than the original in that particular case. This movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I actually enjoyed quite a bit. Some of the dialogue in it is very deliberate as far as trying to be funny. Sometimes I want to watch something that's a serious horror film but that has a comedic edge to it, that it's not completely dark. The humor brings in an element of fun. There's so many great characters like Chop Top. That's Bill Mosley. Bill Mosley played Otis in House of a Thousand Corpses, and the other movie, The Devil's Rejects, which were both Rob Zombie films. And he also played the brother, Johnny, of Barbara in the Tom Savini remake of Night of the Living Dead. There's a rather awkward scene involving a bucket of ice and a chainsaw. Just the back and forth banter, even though Leatherface doesn't say much, the stuff that Bill Mosley says in the movie. Then you've got the cook, named Drayton Sawyer. He's the only, I forget his real name, but he's the only actor returning from the first film. You know, you have to go into this movie knowing that it knows what it is. It knows it's not going to be the same tone as the first film. I can't go any further without mentioning my favorite element of the film, and that is Dennis Hopper. He was a Texas Ranger in the movie, that is the uncle of Sally and the annoying Franklin from the first film. And he's on a crusade, rather, to find the family that got Franklin and traumatized Sally. But this is the one thing about his character that doesn't make sense. He's a Texas Ranger. He goes to a chainsaw store and he buys 3 different chainsaws, 1 big one and 2 smaller ones. And he actually has this harness with extra chains for the chainsaw attached to it. And on his left and his right hip, he has these custom made leather holsters that perfectly fit the 2 smaller chainsaws. And he goes into their lair with these 3 chainsaws and just starts sawing 2x4s and sawing support beams. What I liked about his character was he reminded me of the Dr. Loomis character. Dr. Loomis was always constantly chasing after Michael Myers. Well, in this movie, he's like the Loomis character, but he's chasing after multiple bad guys. I just really enjoyed that aspect of the movie. The thing about this movie that I liked was nostalgia factor. It was like stepping into a time capsule from the 80s. The soundtrack, it's got some really good music. Even if you don't like the movie, it's got some great songs throughout the movie, a really good soundtrack. There's at one point Stretch is wearing a ZZ Top t-shirt. Stretch is played by Caroline Williams, by the way. You've got a lot of little homages or little throwbacks to the previous film. You have to catch them because some of them are very subtle, but all the little ad libs, like all the stuff that Bill Mosley says in the movie, was ad libbed by Bill Mosley. They had a lot of fun making this movie. If you go into this film knowing what it is and knowing what to expect, I think you'll enjoy it more. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Thanks.